The cystic fibrosis community is invited to participate in a series of videos and podcasts on individuals that are living, breathing, succeeding with cystic fibrosis. With the help of today's therapies, cystic fibrosis patients are living longer and achieving more than ever before. This podcast, It's Not About CF, is the 11th in a series of 12 made possible through an unrestricted educational grant from Genentech to the Esiason Foundation. Today you will meet me, Jerry Cahill. I'm 53 years old, living in Brooklyn, New York. I coach high school pole vaulters, I swim, I bike, I run on a weekly basis. I volunteer at the Esiason Foundation, and I have cystic fibrosis. Growing up with cystic fibrosis, there's always challenges and things that I had to overcome. I was told I'm lucky if I make it to my 16th birthday, and to me that was a challenge. People ask me, how do I do it or how do I keep going? Well, to me, it's pretty simple. It's a discipline that I have. It's a mindset, and that's just me. That's what I do. You know, and also the most important thing probably is that you need to believe and you got to want it. You know, I want to stay healthy and I want to get out there and I want to enjoy life, and I don't want to sit around worrying about cystic fibrosis. I want to be out there with people and doing and having a great time.
Jerry's a character. My relationship with him started really the day we bought the company. There were 3 vice presidents of sales. Jerry was one of the 3. The other 2 were capable people, but Jerry really stood out.
He was very professional, but he was fun to work with. I mean, he definitely knew what needed to be done. He was very organized. He made people want to work hard for him.
Jerry is highly inspirational. He creates or he incites a passion in you.
He helped people learn. He helped people feel motivated.
So here we are selling sportswear to stores, and it became like a religion. It became like an obsession because he was so intense and he was so passionate about what he did. It was just contagious. And that's how he approached every aspect of his life.
It was sort of silly to have 3 people doing the job of vice president of sales. I made the decision that Jerry was the guy. He should be senior vice president of sales. So in a very ceremonial way, I brought him into my office, sat him down, told him I wanted him to become senior vice president of sales, took his salary up dramatically, took his compensation package up dramatically, and he sat quiet for a second and then said to me, Marty, unfortunately I can't accept the job. And that's the first time I learned he had cystic fibrosis. He couldn't accept the job because he didn't.
I was like, no, I can't take the job, I'm sick. And he kept talking because he wanted to get his point across about the job. Then he finally said, well, what's the matter? I didn't even talk money yet. Did you get another job offer? And I was like, no, I have to have a transplant. He's like, what are you talking about? So it was just kind of a very strange, surreal situation.
He could have easily accepted the job, changed his compensation package, let me know later, and we would have been stuck. But he was too honest, and it's one of the things that I think about pretty often because it was such a special thing to do. The guy had such high integrity.
I'll be the first to tell you that going out on disability is not an easy thing, but because of the progression of my disease, I had no choice. I had to move forward, create new goals for myself, and reinvent myself. And in doing so, I started volunteering at the Esiason Foundation and giving back to the CF community and creating a lot of great programs for people with cystic fibrosis out there. I also started to get a little bit more involved in coaching. I coach high school pole vaulters, and I also was reinventing what I do with exercise and doing a lot more training. I jog with oxygen, so it's a little bit more challenging, but that's what happens. You have a lot of challenges in life. By doing a lot of the exercise, I'm keeping my lungs clear. In doing that, I'm obviously avoiding the transplant as long as possible because of all the added exercise that I'm doing.
He really takes his athletics seriously, and just like he puts a lot of time into his treatments, he puts a lot of time into his exercise and really strives to do the best he can in really anything he does. And I really feel that that's one of the many reasons he has stayed as healthy as he has stayed.
I'm getting my kit ready to start my IV because I'm on the IV antibiotics, and everything needs to be sterile.
Is this what most CF patients do?
Most of them won't do it themselves. They have a nurse come over to do it. I have a nurse come over too, but a lot of times I'll start it on my own. because I don't want to wait for them to come over. When I go on IVs, they have to change the needle, the port needle, once a week, and then when I'm off IVs, they have to flush the port once a month. Right now, this is saline. I'm just flushing the port. And then I'll put the antibiotics. Now I'm on what's called tobramycin and ceftazidime. There's a little, like a balloon in here with the medication, that it's pressurized, that the medication has to go in at a certain speed. And this takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours to go in.
Most of the older kids are aware that, you know, Jerry has CF, but, you know, it's never noticeable, you know, to them, and it shouldn't be.
To me, it seems that he's just that much more inspirational. He's always positive about everything. I feel like no matter what's going on in my life, what's going on in his could be a lot worse. So I try to take that negative energy and turn it into a positive energy like he does.
I'm not surprised that Mr. Cahill has surpassed the life expectancy of cystic fibrosis. He's one of the strongest guys I know, physically and mentally.
You know, with pole vaulting, it's not about running down the runway and just putting the pole in and jumping up in the air. You've got to do a lot of running workouts, you've got to do a lot of gymnastics, there's a lot of weightlifting. So all these pieces make up the whole to make you a good pole vaulter. And similar to cystic fibrosis is that there's a lot of pieces that you need to do to stay healthy. So it's not about only doing your medications and breathing into your, you know, your antibiotics and bronchodilators. It's also about doing your vest. It's about nutrition, and it's also about adding exercise in there. So all these pieces are going to help you keep your lungs clear, and that's the most important thing, is to stay clear. So there's a lot of pieces that make up the whole.
Jerry, as far as an athlete goes, worked for everything he got. Like most people, he has some skills. Does he have phenomenal skills? No, but he worked extremely hard on perfecting them. He has built into his nature a need for perfection in everything he does.
The fact that somebody had to like take an IV and change it, and he had this, you know, needle in his arm, and he was traveling, and you know, and he would do this. I mean, this was like a normal thing. It wasn't like he was just traveling. He'd be going to work, you know, with a IV in his arm.
He didn't wallow in his disease. In fact, he didn't even share it with me until we tried to promote him. He did talk about pole vaulting. He did talk about his athleticism. And I thought the guy, up until he told me, was a guy who at that point was in his mid-40s, who was in the kind of shape I wish I was at some point in my life.
He's an incredibly humble person. He has a lot of humility. He doesn't like the spotlight on him. He's just a quiet hero.
There's no mantra and there's no secret formula. I basically just attack the day. I attack the day, I go out there, do what I have to do, stay focused on living and succeeding and being healthy. You know, I compete with myself. It's not about anything else, and I like to prove to myself that I can win and I will be healthy and successful. And I look forward to tomorrow and next day and next week and next year. That's what it is. My life is not about CF. It's about me as an individual being strong-minded, strong-willed, and pushing through.